Good afternoon, as it is here. Good morning and good night to whoever else may be viewing. A very warm welcome and a very good afternoon, morning or night to whoever is marking my work from the subject EDF5040, lifelong and workplace learning. I do need to get that right, hence why I made sure I had it. But this is part 2 of assignment 2 of EDF5040, lifelong and workplace learning. Before I start, I must just disclaim that I am wearing my Monash t-shirt. I am not working for Monash on this assignment. This is my own work, so this is not in conjunction with Monash, just to cover myself and the university themselves. So I'm a student at Monash. I just put up my student card there. My student number is 27772942. My full name, Marcus Aaron Roberts. So basically, this is part 2 of assignment 2, as I just mentioned. I have already explained the assignment for whoever's marking my work in part 1, but I will go over it just again. So basically, I've created a YouTube channel for students to use as it's an assessment, to use as an assessment. They need to get creative. The curriculum subject that we are hitting is health and physical education, year 7 and 8. Personal, social, and community health, being healthy, safe, and active. So the course code for that, or the content description code for that, is ACP S071, and that's on australiancurriculum.edu.au. So basically the content description for this area is evaluate strategies to manage personal, physical, and social changes that occur as they grow older. I am reading that off the screen. I do have a few things that I'm reading off here. I know this is still very professional and everything like that, but it's sort of a disclaimer if I'm clicking around a little bit and finding pieces of information, even though it is all organised and ready to go. So basically, this is in conjunction with my first assignment as well. I'm sort of acting like I'm doing this for more than whoever's marking my work from EDF5040. My first assignment was on the impact of mental health on students' academics in high school. So basically, I've gone for something obviously along the same lines, because that's the idea of assignment 2, is to further discover the area. So I've gone for sort of an emotional part in the health and physical education curriculum. I have used something similar to this before, being a physical education major. So I sort of believe that this sort of stuff works. I like the use of technology. I will go over again why I like it and why it's sort of linked to what we've learned in tutorial and in the subject itself. So basically, what I want students to do is I'm going to assess them on their understanding of one of the next 5 curriculum elaborations from the content description. Okay, so I want them to get creative. I want them to make things like songs, poems, stories, role plays. There's a really broad sort of assessment description for this one, but it's got to be videoed and they've got to show the understanding and hit the parameter of one of these elaborations, and that's what they'll be assessed on. There will be an assessment criteria for creativity, but essentially we want them to show understanding. That's what it's all about. It's about staying within the curriculum, staying within the documents, hitting the briefs, getting everything done. So the elaborations, and I am reading these because it's a lot to remember here, but I have been over them, and as I said, I have done something similar to this before. So basically the first is accessing and assessing health information and services that support young people to effectively manage changes and transitions as they grow older. Investigating the changing nature of peer and family relationships and proposing strategies to manage these changes. Analysing how roles and responsibilities change and evaluating strategies for managing these increasing responsibilities. Evaluating and practice coping, communication, and problem-solving skills to manage changes and emotions associated with puberty and getting older. Developing and evaluating strategies on use of social media, phones, and the internet to remain safe and protect the privacy of themselves and others. So basically, I've gone for something that I feel is in conjunction with mental health, and more importantly, we can link it to lifelong workplace learning as well, because that's the content description of the subject. So, as I said, I've gone for something emotional that we can link both of the curriculum and the subject together, along with my area of study, which is mental health and the impact that it has on students' academics and how that can affect them in their life. So basically, the reasons why I've gone for a YouTube video is to be exciting and sort of re-engage with the student. Let them have the parameters to go out and do something exciting. Don't I don't like using the word sort of corralling them into a corner to learn what they want to learn. All students have a different type of understanding. And basically with mental health, it's a really touchy subject, and it's really tough to get students to open up, especially in a classroom environment where they've got all their mates there, they've got people they don't like also, and yeah, so I've gone for a YouTube channel so they can all put their videos up, they can all look at each other, they can have a joke together, they can have a laugh, and they can be serious too. Like, it can be serious songs, serious role plays, serious debate, something, just something that will make them happy. Now, the reasons, again, why I've gone a video for this part of the subject, this part of the assignment, which is, I think, 1,250 words equivalent. So I'm going for something that's about 10 to 15 minutes. Keeping it light, keeping it sort of a little bit smiley and fun. I mean, I've got the lights on me here. I've got my mate behind me who's holding up some stuff for me, because as you can tell, I'm enjoying it too. It's enjoyable, it's fun, and that's exactly how I want the assignment to go as well. I want the kids to have a bit of fun, but always maintain that their understanding is key. It's the number one thing. The number one thing is that they understand what they're doing, and to show that understanding. It's not making a song about nothing. It's making a song about the curriculum areas and parameters that I've laid down. And it is super important that they know that it's a formal assessment. So basically, to use some of the reasons why it's sort of, it connects in conjunction with Connect, which is an online resource that we looked at when we're in tutorial. Basically, it's an independent publication, I guess you would call it, and it's active student participation. So it supports educational change and development through assisting students and teachers to document and share practices in which students have basically, they've made decisions and all that sort of stuff. But the reason why I want to go over it is not just to read off what it is and what Connect is or whatever, but as of 2013, I believe, it's online. It's all online. A lot of students have devices in schools. The schools that I've done placement at have had devices in schools. Technology is the way forward. Technology is progression. That's why I'm doing a video. It's not because I want to be lazy and I don't want to write this all out. I could have written it out. But realistically, they're not kids, they're young adults. And they're progressing through life. And if we don't teach them technology and allow them to use it, then we're not setting them up for lifelong and working practices. And the examples that I sort of want to take is things at university that I've learned. In my first year of university, which is 7 years ago now, I learned how to use Excel. Now, when I was on my last placement, I used Excel and I remembered how to use it. YouTube channel. I set up a YouTube channel when I was in year 12. I don't know where it's gone. I don't even want to look at it, to be fair. But the truth is, I remembered how to do it because of that. We're equipping students through this assignment to deal with their mental health issues, look at the person in the mirror, because it comes from within, and they're hitting the curriculum, and we're setting them up for lifelong lessons here. Okay, and that's what the content of the subject is all about, is setting the students up for lifelong practices. So basically, some of the things that we looked at while we're in tutorial was the rise of unemployment and how technology was taking jobs. The cost of labour here compared to overseas is obviously vastly different in many, many areas. So basically, the impact that mental health can have on a student's academics can now have a really, 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 really huge impact on where they're going for the next 5 years after high school. Because if something happens and they don't sort of seek that professional special consideration and they do poorly, which is something that I sort of explored in my first assignment, it's not really part of my second assignment, it can have a detrimental impact, especially with the rise of unemployment and how difficult it is to get jobs. So through this assignment, we're not only sort of attacking the area of curriculum and mental health and two things, we're setting them up to learn how to use technology, to be at ease with technology. Students hate public speaking. Public speaking is one of the most hated things that anyone can do. For ourselves, for myself as an educator, and I'm probably talking to educators here, realistically, it's not a massive deal for us. We're not scared of public speaking. But for many people, they are. And right now, I don't even feel like I'm public speaking. I'm sitting here in front of one of my mates who's holding up my stuff. I'm in the comfort of my lounge room, where students can do it in the comfort of their bedroom. They can do it at school. They can do it wherever they want. But we're setting them up to use technology, to not be afraid to use technology. Step out and use it. That's what this assignment is trying to do. Yes, it's ticking the box of mental health, which is the main content of my assignment. Yes, it's setting them up for doing well with the curriculum, because it's in line with the curriculum. So they're doing well at school. Yes, they're going to progress well if they do well in this, because they're going to progress through life learning and all the rest of it we've learnt in this subject. I don't need to go over it all. All right. Also, as we move on, so that was Australia, the rise of unemployment that I've used as an example there, and that was a small clip from the Today Show that we watched that was part of the content from actually a while ago. I think it was week 2 or 3. Okay, but all my references will be down below, and you can have a proper look at it there. The next thing that I wanted to highlight was also another video clip that we watched, or that was part of the content. I can't actually remember if we watched it in a tutorial. I don't think we did, but basically it was a bunch of young people that had been on Centrelink and just can't get jobs. And I found it really interesting, relevant, and significant to my own subject, which is obviously mental health, and in comparison with lifelong and workplace learning. Basically, the class that they're undertaking, when they spoke to the teacher, the main thing was making them believe in themselves again, that they lost belief in themselves. And again, that just further highlights the need for student understanding in mental health, in conjunction with the curriculum, of course, as we're doing here, but just being in touch with their mental health, liking each other, liking the person on the other end of the video. Yes, we're all going to cringe a little bit. I'm probably going to cringe a little bit when I watch this back, but I'm confident that I know what I'm talking about. I'm confident in myself that in a year's time, I'm going to walk out of university and employ myself because I've got employability skills, because I believe in it. It wasn't the fact that these guys didn't have jobs. It was the fact that they let mental health and the lack of academic results through one reason or another, but as I've highlighted in assignment 1, It can be a result or a byproduct of mental health, poor academic results. But that's why they weren't getting jobs, because they'd stopped believing in themselves. Mental health issues connected to lifelong learning again. As I just touched on, that was called The Harsh Reality, that video, and again, references down below. Employability skills from the website, which I will get up now. So youthcentral.vic.gov.au, of course. And the employability skills that they mentioned in this was communication, teamwork, problem solving, initiative and enterprise, planning and organizing, self-management, learning, and technology. All things that I'm doing probably at the moment. Communication, from me to you, as the students will do. Teamwork, got my friend here. They can use each other in this assignment. Teamwork, problem solving. Had some issues with the technology before, couldn't figure it out, had to get on, Google some things, whatever, and so on and so forth. The technology and the learning are obviously self-explanatory, but we're setting the students up through this assignment to be employable, take skills from it, learn about your mental health, learn about lifelong learning, but set yourself up with employability skills. Now, this is not the be-all and the end-all. Making a movie is not going to make the students more employable. Let's disclose that. But what it will do is equip them with some of the skills that they need. As we've touched on already, going on to my next reference here, which is Tomlinson 2013, which I found on page 86, which is relatively early in the reference, another reference from EDF5040. Making sure that I get the code right, which is important because, it's important. Education employability is changing with the modern economy and changing with education systems. The education system is currently changing. We've just had a change in curriculum, even though from a health and peace perspective, we probably lost a couple, but not a lot changed. Mental health is being incorporated more and more into the health cohort of schools. But again, the education system and the modern economy is changing, as we've touched on already. Technology is the way forward. Making students come up with a piece of technology, just a small video, already equipping them with something that may be, just as we just touched on, just a general employability skill. Knowing technology, knowing YouTube, knowing Word, knowing how to make a video, it doesn't really matter. I know someone the other day, a close connection of mine, who I won't name their name, but had a job interview, and the interviewer said, you're great, you should make a video resume of yourself. Now, how important is that, to know how to use these things? So again, we're equipping students the ability to be employable, lifelong skills that they are going to take through their life. So Tomlinson, 2013, page 86, was about employability, the modern economy, and changing education systems. We move on to the aims of education. So basically the parameters of this was, we're in America, so it is a little bit, it's not askew. I think you can draw correlations, but it's not a direct correlation. But this was Noddings, and I found it on page 435. I believe this is Noddings, if I'm right. Maybe not. Yep. This is Noddings, page 435. Basically, what he was talking about, and the way that, sorry, checking for updates here, of course, technology, who would have thought? I'll just get back to it. So basically the things that he's looking at here is the changing aims of the curriculum and the education system. So what are we aiming at? And he develops opinions that the aim should be looked at a lot more closely, because we're not concerned that so many few men become nurses, elementary school teachers, social workers, early childhood teachers, and full-time parents. We're still sort of focused on that happiness is not at the forefront. The school system is not set up to be happy. It's you've got a role in life, stick to it. We're not encouraging students to go out and do what they want to do. You know, and I feel like making videos and being yourself and putting yourself out there is a really important part of doing that. Now, I will wrap it up quite quickly from here because I probably have gone over time and I need to go back over what we're actually doing here. But again, I took something from John Party, who is from Monash, 2015, and it was actually in the brief of what it was, and it was basically highlighting the dual school system and the changes from 1980 to 1992. So the change from tech schools to a dual school system as secondary colleges. And the highlights, I think that what I took for it, and significantly to sort of critical analysis, is what we're aiming for here, going back to my assignment. And it sort of highlights the need for progress, to progress with the times, to be at ease that things are changing. Again, the use of technology, we're still looking at the use of, we're still looking at the curriculum. We're still attacking the curriculum. We're still attacking my topic. But we're equipping now students through the use of technology to progress through life, to be at ease with those changes, to not panic and get stressed out and whatever because they've got to do something on the internet, like your elders probably do. Okay? So, therefore, it also sort of brings into the fact that I saw that a new tech school had been opened. But it wasn't like the tech school that my dad went to in Frankston North. It was a tech school with computers and programming and all that sort of great information technology stuff. That's the way forward for technology, and that's the way forward for tech schools themselves. It's not like it used to be, but it highlights the need for progression, and progression comes right down to us at the education system to have progressive things in place so that students aren't doing something like technologically advanced and going, well, I don't know how to do this. And this might be when they're out in the workforce and their boss is going to say, well, learn. And then they might get stressed out, which doesn't enable the person to think clearly and may cause mental health and then may have an effect on their academic ability, which is what my first assignment was about. So that was John Party 2015, which is, as I said, a study on the changing school systems. And my last one was the new pedagogies for deep learning, which was another clip that we watched in tutorial. And it was highlighted in this, it was a 45-minute video, but the highlight was to encourage the critical thinking that go beyond 21st century skills. Okay, so what we're doing here is creative is cool now. Creative is cool. You know, it's the same at university. Creative is cool. I'm not doing this video because it's cool. I'm doing it because it's relevant and significant to my topic in mental health, that students can speak out and be themselves and do whatever they want to do, but they're still critically thinking and making themselves more employable for lifelong and workplace learning. So that wraps up the content part of this video. It has gone a little bit over time, which I did sort of allow for. So before I end it, the parameters of the assignment or the assessment that I want the students to create is a YouTube video. I will say clip. It's probably a clip that they put on the channel. They can look at each other's and they are to show understandings for one of the following elaborations from the content description, evaluate strategies to manage personal, physical, and social changes that occur as they grow older, found at ACPPSO71. And the elaborations for that, as I said before, actually, you know what, I probably don't need to go over them again. The elaborations are there. They need to show understanding for one of those three. They are directly linked to mental health. I've sort of gone over the use of technology. And again, it sets them up for lifelong and workplace learning through employability skills and all the things that we've mentioned in this video. So that'll be it. Thanks very much for listening. I know that this is probably only going to go to my assessor from EDF5040, but I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it's something different to what everyone else has done. I hope my organisational skills weren't too much to follow. It's obviously tough to do an assignment like this. It's something I've never done before, but I'm actually really excited about it. It's been an exciting day. I've really enjoyed it, so I hope you do too. But the parameters for this are an assessment. So to go back to exactly addressing the unit guidelines, this is part 2, which is the product. I've gone for a lesson plan or student assignment. So this is a student assignment. So it's a structured assignment. Basically, the students need to show understanding. I am going to do a rubric for it, which will be found in I guess I'll put it in the appendix. And that'll be it. You know, there's just a small rubric, and it's mainly just so the students show understanding of the content descriptions, and that's how I link a mental health subject with the curriculum, and then through my use of research, I've linked it back to lifelong and workplace learning. So thanks very much for listening. I do appreciate your time. I know this is probably long. Hopefully you've skipped over some of the parts of it, but yeah, so thanks for listening and enjoy. Hopefully I will use this in the future and it goes well. Thanks again. Bye.